No.
Good evening, everybody, and a very warm welcome to another spiritual Lyceum evening, where the topic is all appertaining to the subject of spiritualism. Great delight to welcome this gentleman back to our screens once more, the lovely Bill Rich. Bill, good evening, sir.
Good evening, mate. How are you doing, Laurie? Thanks for having us tonight.
Absolutely lovely, and so good to see you well on the mend now, and also looking forward to meeting you in person next week. How exciting.
Next Friday I'm at yours, yeah.
I know.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Absolutely. We'll probably never speak again, but never mind.
Yeah. Yeah. You learn a lot when you meet someone in the flesh, don't you?
God, yes. Oh, very much. Right, so Bill, sorry, I've just had a message up saying this page is unresponsive, but I'm getting messages coming in and I can hear each other, so I shall carry on regardless. Bill, perhaps for the benefit of people joining us this evening, you can just give a little bit of a background, please, on your history within the field of mediumship.
Okay. I've been a medium now 30 years, and in that 30 years I've had some fantastic experiences with spirit. I've learned a massive amount, but I've learned one big lesson, that no matter how long you work with spirit, you're learning every single time you work with them. No lesson is ever the same, we know that, and each time, like last night, I was working at my local church, and to be honest with you, Laurie, you'd have thought it was my first time out again. The nerves were there and everything. And I had someone say to me, but after 30 years, you still get like this? And I say, because it's the unexpected. Because I just don't know what's going to happen. So to me, in my years of working with spirit, I've learned that it's very important to me, and it's important to understand what it's about, what you're doing and why you're doing. And, you know, guys like yourself putting this on this evening gives the opportunity for people to learn and discuss, you know, and I think that's great because we all learn from everyone and from spirit.
Very true. Yeah. I love that about the nerves, because I say that when I go on platform, I am nervous. And people say, you were doing ages. It's still, you know, you don't know what's going to come through. You don't know. But I'm sure we share the same truth that once you're up there and once you're in that power, there's nothing like it.
There's nothing that can substitute that feeling of that anticipation, walking into the unknown, though you know what you're doing, but to actually walk into the energy, and the moment spirit draw close to you, you open your mouth and you're away.
Yeah.
That's the... I wish I could package it and give it to people and say, just have a taster of that. It's the most beautiful feeling in the world.
Yeah.
And I never get tired of it. I never bore of it. I never get tired of it. It's always unique. That's the beauty of it.
Indeed. Each and every message we give is totally unique, because we're working with a totally unique set of people, both sides of life, to make that magic happen. So definitely wonderful, wonderful, wonderful.
Isn't that a good word you use, magic? I like that, to make that magic happen. I quite like that. That's such a lovely way of explaining it. It is that magical moment. Yeah, I like that. That's well.
Copyright Lawrence Saville. All right.
No, I'm only going to give you that one compliment till I meet you next week.
Oh, didn't I tell you I'm not here next week? I'm going to get somebody else. Anyway, Bill, tonight's topic always can be a bit contentious, because I believe it's just in the semantics of the words that we use. But tonight we're going to be talking about guides.
Yep.
It's always a very hot topic, especially in development circles, no matter what stage of development we're in. Most commonest thing heard is, I don't know my guide. I've never seen my guide.
Yeah, I think if you could pick a minefield within the whole area of spiritualism, guide would be the one that would be the most contentious. People argue about it and they have so many views on it, and I respect that. But I got to say to you, one of the things is, first off, you've got to ask yourself, what is a guide? It's as pure and simple as that. You know, what is a guide? It's a spirit being that remains in spirit form to assist, to show a way, to lead. The actual explanation of guide is to show a way, to lead, to escort. That is what their role is, right? We don't know the answers. So we walk into this minefield and we think, how do we navigate? But someone says, come with me. I will show you the pathway out of that minefield. They are guiding you. Does that make sense?
Very much. Very much.
We need that with spirit. You know, I try to explain to people, what is the importance of a guide? Well, the areas of spirit and spiritualism is vast. And so we need that help to be able to understand, to be shown and led through our development. And I really can't emphasize enough, if there was one thing that I would passionately fight for, is I would just wish people would put as much time and effort into learning who they're working with, because it opens doors. It builds trust. It builds a rapport. You know, if you were standing by a swollen river, it's knee deep, would you just take a chance and cross it? Or would you seek the guidance of someone who says, actually, come with me, I will show you the right way to cross this river where you'll be safe? To me, that explains everything. Because if I don't listen to guides, I really don't know who I'm working with and what area I can get myself into trouble with. And I know that some people will find that contentious. I've heard all kinds of things, Laurie. People say, I don't need guides. Really? You can see where this is coming, can't you?
Mm.
And the lovely people out here that are listening tonight, I'll pose one question to you. Every single one of you has got a guide. You're born to this world with a guide. Whether you build up a rapport to work with that guide is a separate thing. But the guide is no less there. But how much effort do you put into working with them? Make sense?
Very much so. It does, very much so. Because this is where we start to maybe get a little bit unraveled at times, is just the terminology. Because again, as I said, it's all down to semantics and how people talk. You describing there a guide, to me, my interpretation is my constant friend.
I'll go along with that, yeah.
That one person who's with me throughout this whole lot, poor bugger. I'm so sorry for him. Who's with me for this whole lot. That's who I call, that's my constant friend in spirit. And then when I devolve into working either mediumistically, healing, however, inspirationally, that's, to me, in my terminology, that's when I will get different guides stepping in who are acute and knowledgeable of that field that I'm going to be working in. And they know before me.
Yeah.
You know, so often I get somebody stepping in a couple of days early, and then something will happen and I will feel that presence again. And I go, oh, okay, I'm beginning to cotton on now. Thank you. Yeah, I get this.
Oh, there's the lovely comment there. Good evening, Patrick Manahan. I think I spelled that right.
Monahan, yeah.
Monahan, sorry. Need new glasses. Yeah. He's put on there, I have a few. And actual fact, if you actually look, we all have a few guides there, especially if you're working within the confines of, and I use this loosely, spiritual work. Because each guide brings to the table a unique set of skills. Right? They bring to them their unique set of skills, their knowledge, their understanding. and they've been watching a medium from a distance for quite a while to see how they work, how they can blend, how they can enhance that medium and take them further down. A classic example, I'm just gonna give you this, right, because I wrote this down, and please excuse me, but we're walking into this minefield again with these guides, yeah? I'll give you a list of a few guides, yeah, that I have taken off the internet. Here we go. Archangels, angels, ancestors, well-being guides, light worker guides, life guides, relationship and love guides, nature spirit, covering all the elementals. Yeah, this is just briefly. ETs, star beings, dimensional beings, animal guides, deities, gods and goddesses. I wrote this down prior tonight just to give you an idea of all of these guides. Me, I'm just a humble medium. I work with spirit. I embrace what I do. I embrace those that I need to work with. Always ready to expand and grow with spirit. So my ones I deal with mainly are healing guides, clairvoyance guides, philosophy, trance guides that can take you and work on different levels, main guides and circle guides. They're guides that are relevant to me because they're guides that are applied to do the job. So when someone says, how do I know I've got a guide? Who is my guide? You go on internet and you'll see different things saying you've got 11 guides. You've got 5 guides. You've got 4 guides. I can teach you how in this magical one-day session, right, or a 3-week course, how to know all the answers about guides. You can't. Learning how to work with guides takes a lifetime. Experiencing, making mistakes, understanding, building the rapport up. You said, Laurie, something that is absolutely important to me. You build up a relationship, a friendship, built on trust and understanding, both sides. And that to me is important. So I just gave you just a brief idea of how many guides are supposedly there. I want to be able to work with spirit in a safe way, the correct way. I want to work with people that are going to enhance my work. I often say to spirit, make me the best you can make me. Because at the end of the day, they are the ones that actually make you. They're the ones that are the giver of knowledge and understanding. You know, I think that's beautiful. Someone says, I have a fantastic team of guides and angels and animal guides, and which include unicorns and dragons. If that is where you feel your trust is, then that's what you've got to do. I never, ever put anybody down on who their guides are. But I would say this to people. What is spirit? Spirit is an entity, an energy. It can take the forms of many things because it has no physical body. Which you become used to and what you feel acceptable, spirit will show that form to you.
Good point.
It will show that form to you. If you believe that you needed to be guided by, let's say, an Indian guide or Tibetan guide person, and that is where your trust most lays, they will show that form to you because they're able to adjust form. People forget that. People actually forget that. My Indian guide, when people see it, they always say he's big, tall, scarring down there. And he does show that to me when he overshadows, right? And shows this and transfigures. When I get to spirit, he might be 4'10", shorter than me. And I didn't think anybody was shorter than me. And I'll say, I thought you were 7 foot tall. And he might say to me, I only showed you that because then I know you would respect me because that's what you needed at that time. And that's a real eye-opener, that is.
Yeah. Yeah. We all come from many philosophical backgrounds.
Exactly.
And there are certain forms of energy who, if they appeared to me, I would be very dubious.
Yeah.
Because I'm me. and I'm entitled to be, as is everybody else. I suppose you could akin it to looking when you go into secondary school. You're in this massive school with about 50 teachers, but you probably only sit in 2 or 3 of those classes.
Yeah.
But all those teachers are still there.
Yeah.
But they are not taking you in your direction. But we're all different, so we all have our own direction. And like you, I don't put people down. If whatever people believe in, I always say, I don't care what you believe in, as long as you believe in something, because that's the most crucial thing.
Yeah.
So,
I in the 30 years that I've worked with spirit, as I said, I'm always learning. I'm always gaining knowledge. I'm always advancing. And I think that's brilliant. I think there is nothing that can beat when you hold your hand out to spirit and a hand comes back and embraces you and says, I will walk with you, I will teach you, I will show you, but I can't do it for you.
Yeah.
That to me is the important part. Now, I often say that I get so many comments from people with guides, and they ask guides, I love teaching people to work with them. You get out of work, you get out of spiritualism by the effort and work you put into it. You get the knowledge by asking, right? I never stop asking. That's the one thing I've noticed in the time I've worked with spirit. I'm always asking why. What else is there? What can I learn? How can I improve? And to me, the first thing is this. Can I just take a moment to explain something? Yeah,
please do. Please do. The evening
is important that you know who you're working with. Okay. If you look, and I'll give this simple analogy. If I gave you a telephone directory of all the world's area codes and gave you a telephone and said to you, there you go, think of a number, however many digits, and ring it. Somewhere in that world of how someone will answer, right? Whether it be Venezuela, whether it be Mexico, whether it be Tibet, wherever, someone will answer it, Laurie.
Yeah.
And you go, oh, hello. And they go, hello, if you can understand them, yeah. Would you then divulge and say, that I'm going to class you as my friend. Here's my bank details. Here's everything about me. And expose yourself to someone that you don't know or trust. You haven't had time to build a rapport or trust with. Would that make sense?
Very much.
So when I hear people say through their teaching or whatever, throw it up to spirit, ask spirit to help you. Who are you asking for? Who are you directing that request to? Because the moment you engage with spirit in thought or action, your energy levels change. You become a brighter beacon to all the spirit. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's very easy for spirit to draw close to you. Do you want that person? Is that person the right one for me? Are our energies compatible? Is the knowledge of that person in spirit going to be the right person for me to advance on whatever chosen field that I hopefully chose to go on, yeah? No, you don't know. So think about how many people there are in this world. Millions. I don't know the correct number. I would have no idea. I couldn't ascertain that.
Like 7 billion.
Okay, let's just pick a round ballpark figure even. And I ain't even lost them yet. 7 billion. How many people reside in the spirit world? And it's going to be a lot more than 7 billion. So there is a lot of chance there that you might not get the right person for you. You might not get the right guide that blends with your energy, that takes you and advances you. And this is where I believe that the one guide that is vitally important is the main guide. The main guide, though I can't prove this, I really can't prove it. is I believe an agreement is made whilst we're in spirit to come back to live this plane. I might say to you, Laurie, I want you to be my main guide, because I know I'm compatible with you. I know that I'm friends with you. I have a relationship with you. And you go, yeah, okay. Now, please, friends, I know you're listening to this. I can't prove this. Yeah, reincarnation, I can't prove. But what I can say to you is that that is my belief. At some point when I reach this earth plane, you are there with me. At some point through my growth, you will start the process of trying to integrate with me. Right? You are trying to prepare me. And this happened to me from a very early age. It was confirmed to me through experiences that were given to me in circle. Now, you know, what I'm saying to you is that process goes on. That guy then is overseeing. He or she is what I would call the main guide, the foreman, if you like. As other guides come closer to me, as I develop spiritually, they are of the right balance for me, because that main guide is overseeing that. So hence comes in a philosophy guide that I will gel with, right? Other guides that come in. And this sequence of events takes place as a medium, and it's a lifetime journey.
Yeah.
It is a complete lifetime journey. And when I look back and I read and I listen to things, I look back at the real class mediums, the real mediums that to me, they might not be famous names, and some of them are, but they made a difference to spiritualism. Their teachings, their actions, the way they carried themselves, the way they produced the evidence or the knowledge and the philosophy, that's all part of it. Where did it come from? Where did it stem from? It stemmed from learning to work with spirit and knowing your guides.
Agreed.
Knowing your guides. You know, from Emma Hardy's Britain to all the others, you know, the seven principles and the trance talks, Gordon Higginson. You look at Gordon Higginson, I think he was the best exponent of mediumship that you could get. I think I never ever met the man. I surely wish I did. I'd love to have seen him work. But from what I've seen, that to me holds something that I can aspire to. But when you read about Gordon Higginson, he had guides. He had different guides there. Some would do trance work, like I believe someone said on there they do trance. I can't remember. I've lost it now. As a transmitter, Joanne Lewis, yeah, to know my guides. He must have done exactly the same thing. Know who you're working with. Work in a safe environment. Work with people that are there to assist you in your journey. That is how, in my opinion, the better mediums worked. Because they've always got a port of call to go back to. I've got a problem. Who do I go to? I can't throw it open willy-nilly. I can't get the dictionary, the diary out and, oh yeah, I'll contact this one, I'll contact that one. I can only work with what's around me, the guides. So to me, I go to my main guide. And I say to people, if you've got that port of call, you've got a friend who will never turn their back on you. They will never let you down. They will always be there, safeguarding you. And sadly, I don't see that now. I see people that want to get working with spirit and not worry about who's working with them.
Yeah, I do agree with you there, Bill. There has been this propensity now to shortcut the journey. You know, I want to go in as the bus driver. I don't want to go in as the mechanic, sort of thing. We need to work more on that. Lovely comment here from Serena out in Germany. It's interesting to see how the guides change or someone completely new appears. Or if I think of psychic surgery, there are guides who are always there. Sometimes the spirit doctor comes only once because the illness is his or her speciality. Brilliant.
Yeah, totally get that. Good evening, Serena. Totally get that. Yeah, each guide game brings to a table a skill, a set. My simple way of putting this is, if you need a brick wall built, you call a bricklayer. You don't call an electrician. You go for the guide's skill. Who knows whose skill is better? Only the spirit guides. Only the spirit guides know that. You wouldn't get a healing guide doing clairvoyance. You know, you wouldn't get a trance guide taking over someone standing up on platform doing trance. They could do that in circle. They can do that in a safe environment because they know that's the right time to do it. There's all these different fields that each one brings. I often refer to it as, it's like trying to run a building site. You know, if you turn around and say, right, I'm getting all the brickies in, I'm getting all the different trades in, they all turn up on the same day and say, right, now build me that block of flats. Right? You're going to have the house that Jack built. But if you get a foreman who oversees the running of it, it all takes place at the right time, the right sequence, the right way.
Yeah.
That to me is all. I've used it for many years, and I don't think I would ever change that. And sadly, I look at something that I can't believe I'm going to say this. 30 years. I really can't believe I worked with Spirit 30 years because
don't look old enough.
Thank you, mate. When I started, it's like, this is never going to take over my life. You know, I'm going to be in control. To a certain extent, I have got control, you know, as we all have. But it has taken over my life. And the reason why, it's like a drug. It's addictive. The more you come away, you think, wow, you know, you're not self-praise, not ego.
Mm-hmm.
That I enjoyed that. And someone come up like last night and explained the message you'd given to them. And it's not what they say, it's the embrace or the touch they give you. It speaks more volumes than words. And you think, wow, with everything that's going on, you still managed to step into the shoes to do the job, and you made a difference. That to me makes it addictive. You know, and I really can't believe I'm going to say this. So I've always identified spiritualism and being spiritual in lots of different ways. But I think we're very, very close now to losing our identity as spiritualists.
Yeah.
I seriously do. Phil Shaw, Gordon was a very insistent on knowing our guides, which he firmly encouraged us to do at the Arthur Findlay College, and was the first teacher to connect with my trance guide Chung. Fantastic. But I bet Phil would answer a question for me, that without someone showing you the importance of connection and understanding why it's connecting like that, that has always stood you all the way through your spiritual evening, your spiritual pathway, hasn't it? You know, you get lost. Who do? You ask someone the guidance away. If you get lost with spirit and you don't know who you're working with, who do you ask? And to me, that's it. But I think, Laurie, I think it's a dangerous precipice we're at the moment, because I think I watch and I listen what people are doing, and I have to ask myself, are we asked as mediums? Thank you, Phil. Are we asked as mediums not to be mediums now, but to be life coaches? Are we being asked to take the responsibility under the banner of spirit and spiritualism to show people how to live life? I've watched people, they openly proclaim it. I will show you how to link with spirit, your guides that will help you make decisions in love and work and this, that, and the other. Well, in 30 years, I screwed that up big time. I got married twice. Certainly didn't work for me then. You know, I haven't got a guide that says, take that job, don't do this job. I've got a guide that may advise me or impress me, but ultimately, I've got a guide that will stand there that no matter what decision I made, good or bad, they will still stand with me. And we're being asked now to lead people's lives. And that to me is not spiritualism. It is not certainly part of what I train to be. My job, I can't speak for other people. I can only speak for myself. I had to read a message. Bill, I'm ready for a reading now. Can you, yeah, I'm ready for the reading now. But what I'm looking for is what's going to happen in the next few days and the next few weeks. I haven't got a clue.
Mm.
I haven't got a clue. Do I want that kind of message? No. But that's what people are asking for, Laurie. And they're asking for it, and it will destroy us if it's allowed to continue.
Indeed. We need to go back a bit and unpick the spirituality and spiritualism have become intertwined and actually cause this bit of confusion with people about what we're about. Our job as a medium is to give the evidence of the continued thread of life.
Yep. Exactly.
Full stop. It's not to tell you to marry. You know, I would say, somebody comes to me for a private sit-in and say, if you're looking for a tall, dark, handsome man, love, I'm first in the queue for that. So you just have to wait. And it's, you know,
make it clear, Laurie, I'm right at the back of the queue. Yeah. And it's a long queue.
You're not even in the queue, love. Anyway, you're in the reserve, sweetie. Back on track.
You wait till I see you next Friday.
Yeah, I'm not here. Yeah, back on track. You know, it's getting over this. Once you do that as a medium, you give that evidence, the logical way and the intelligent way, to me, of handling it, because we must always remember we are dealing with intelligence. We are not dealing with spirit we can just call up to do a quick party trick and then pop back in the fridge until next week. It's an ongoing form of self-development. And where you're looking to find out what's going to happen in the future, you're denying the journey. You know, if I said to you, all right, Bill, in a year's time, you're going to be a millionaire. You know, I've introduced that energy into your life of thinking, oh, that's all right. Laurie said I'm going to be a millionaire and I trust him. So I'm going to just sit back and wait for it to happen.
Yep.
Actually, you're going to be a millionaire in a year's time because you are going to have some fantastic opportunities and you're going to have these amazing chances and you're going to have to make some really tough decisions, but there is that possibility there. But that whole lesson's just gone out the window because you have just gone, oh, happy days, bring it on. Is it the lottery? I'll do that every week. And this is what people tend to miss, you know, it's developing that link, the understanding and that connection with those in spirit to help us live this life, not tell us what to do. Neither of us are puppets.
Sue Townsend, guys appear to take a too sharp intake of breath. I'm not quite sure, Sue, what that was supposed to mean, unless you'd like to just explain that briefly, yeah? If they're good.
I think what she's saying there, the follow-up to an audible silence when I made a particular choice. I think what Sue is saying there, that her experience with guides was she's decided to embark on a course and actually didn't get the backup or wasn't told to stop, but actually wasn't encouraged either. So, and again, that can be part of our learning process because, you know, I've come across this many times with myself and other people. We have lots of points in our life where spirit will actually just step back and go, this is your choice. This is your choice. You know, whichever way you go, we'll support you, but we can't interfere with this.
Yeah, I totally agree. I know there's Stacey's put on there, can I not read tarot and be spiritual? You can be spiritual, but it's your choice if you choose to read tarot. It's as simple as that. People forget they have choice. You know, was I told I've got to be a medium? I was told there's a possibility that I could be a medium. I certainly was told I had the ability to be one, but ultimately the choice was made by me that I actually want to do this. A decision made. If I embark on the wrong choice and say, right, well, I'm going to do a certain field of something to do under the spiritual banner, I agree with you, Laurie. The guides are going to go, really? You know what I'm saying? We'll stand back. You'll soon learn because you're not listening.
Mm.
And unfortunately, it's, as we said it from the very beginning, it's a minefield. What is one meat to one person is poison to another. What I can say to you is that regardless, however we work, we should be working under the spiritual umbrella, which is working with spirit from the highest and the best that we can and doing a job sufficiently. Those that work with mediumship, as in standing and demonstrating, our job is to purely give survival evidence that life exists and carries on after the physical body dies. We accept that, would you not, Laurie?
Yes. Yeah.
But also we're asked that to stand there in that service to impart spiritual philosophy, because people are out there wanting to understand spirit, what it's about. And so the medium is called upon to either recall on their own experiences or to be influenced by spirit to give that address. There are teachers that I admire, and Gordon Higginson and people like that I do admire. But unfortunately, I pose this question to the guys out there. Where is spiritualism going? And it's something I'd like you guys who were watching tonight, ask yourself that question. Where is spiritualism going? Has it changed in the time you've worked with it? And has it changed within yourself what you want to achieve from it? And I think that's the important question there. What do you want to achieve from it?
That's a question you always ask when you enter into a well-run circle. Why do you want to be a medium?
Yeah. I'm going to say something to you because there's, you know, when we talk about guides, everybody's got a guide. And at some point through our life, that guide has made an effort in which to let you know that they're there. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Sometimes it may be a sense, a shadow, a feeling within inside or physically, a voice in your head, a dreams. It could be any things, but they've been there all through our life trying to prepare us for our spiritual journey. There isn't a map that spirit has of what is going to be. There is possibly ideas of what might happen and might be, providing you take the right decisions. So the guides are assisting us to help us, nurture us. But ultimately, you have your own choice. Someone's put, I think it's Andrea Ivy. Yes. Don't you agree with tarot? I think tarot has a place. I think if you give people the opportunity to have what they believe is what they need, then they have a choice. To me, I've seen tarot work two ways. I've seen tarot used as in people picking a card up, like my tobacco tin, and say, oh, I've got this tobacco tin. It's telling me this is going to happen. That's where I have dispute. There's nothing on that card that says this is going to happen. It's a card. And I've seen people work purely from the cards with no spiritual content whatsoever. I also have seen, on the other hand, someone lay a spread of cards out and say, before I turn a card, I've got your mother or your father or whoever describe absolutely to a T who they've got. And I'd sit there and go, yes, I can accept that. Then they will say, your mum's talking about this in the past. So, yeah, that's correct. That was right. My mum would know about that, yeah? Then they would say, this is what's going on at the moment. Yeah, because your mum's standing there, she's telling me she sees what's going on. But they would turn the cards over and say, these cards mean this. That is what she was referring to in the past. This means that. And I've got a reading that I could accept, but I had the validation of the spirit proof and identity of with it. If it's done like that, I've got no problem. But when people say to me, this card predicts a future, you're going to be this millionaire, you're going to be this, you're going to be that, that's when I have, because the future isn't written. The future is written by choice that I take, decisions I make, and consequences come from them decisions, as the consequences of other people's decisions can influence my view. Does that make sense?
Yeah, very much.
Got my little thing.
That's fine. Absolutely fine. That's why I was referring back to what I was saying. We need to do a bit of unpicking, because what people are accepting as spiritualism is not. And we're not denigrating it. We're not saying it's rubbish. It isn't spiritualism. It's psychism or different aspects of that, which is not spiritualism. It gets very complicated, and I've probably just sparked off about 600 comments telling me why I'm wrong, which is absolutely fine.
Yeah.
But from our point of view, our discussion tonight, we are talking about spiritualism and the context of that. So, Francis.
My friend Francis. I love Francis. Hello, evening, Francis.
Bit of levity here. Everyone has got a guide, question mark. You know me, Bill, I'm still wanting to know who mine is.
Right. For the benefit of everyone out there, Francis is my adopted daughter, if you like. Yeah. She's part of our family and I love her to bits. And sometimes I've had Francis sit with me in workshops, circles and that, yeah. And sometimes I think, and I'm sorry, Francis, I'm going to say this, sometimes we can think too hard on things. The more you look, the less you find. And sometimes we wait. Now, before Francis gets on here and says, I'm going to kill you next week, yeah, which she will do because she does karate, so I'll have to warn everybody, yeah. There are some people that will never, going to let you down gently, guys. There are some people, when it comes to working with guides, will never see a guide. That's fact. There are some people who work with spirit and never hear a guide. But most people will sense a guide. And sometimes it isn't the physical sensation of an external force. You feel it from within. And so I say to Francis, the more you sit with spirit, the more you learn. The more opportunities you give for spirit to grow with you in the right environment, it does come. It comes from one acknowledgement. So let me ask the question. Of all the people, just a yes or no, of all the people watching tonight, how many of you are sat in circle?
We'll wait for those answers.
Get you working. Hey?
We'll give a little pause there while those answers come in, because
it's a simple question. I believe with the Lyceum, you can ask me questions. I will answer to the best of my abilities, but I'm still going to throw a question back at you.
No, that's fine.
Right, there you go. Right, so Jane Denham, no. Yes, 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 I have. Right, we all have, yeah? Oh, God.
I warned you.
Green is lighting up. Brilliant. Thank you, guys, for really participating in this.
I like Francis's answer.
Just waiting for you to step one up, yeah? Okay. Okay, here we go. How many of you, when you sat in circle, have heard the use of the term sitting in the energy, the power? Right? We've all heard it, have we not? You've got to sit in the power. You've got to sit in the energy. If you don't sit yourself in that energy, how are you going to receive it and acknowledge it? It's as simple as that. If you want to drive a car, if you don't take driving lessons, you can't drive a car. So you make effort into doing it, hence circle. And the circle leader say, sit in the energy, because you've got to become accustomed to that energy. And it's within that, sitting within that power and the energy, you will, what's the word I'm looking for? You will experience different sensations. And that is 9 times out of 10 the opportunity when spirit will come in. If you set the right lesson up and you say to someone, we're going to work on a way, we're going to disconnect from that energy, you're going to be cold, basically, yeah? To put it bluntly. We're going to ask the main guide that works with you, known or unknown, to draw close to you. Tell me what you feel now and tell me what you feel when this little exercise is done. People might say, do you know what? I feel cold on my right side. And it gave me this tingling sensation. There will be, in some small, significant way, right, a feeling, a sense. Doesn't happen always the first time. But the more you do it, the more familiarity is built, right? More familiar you become with it. And that becomes the guide's calling card. And I try to explain to people, if you're asked in that lesson, right, that your guide comes in on the right-hand side and taps you on the shoulder like that, there is no other guide that is going to replicate that. And that then becomes the cue and say, right, okay, if you're my main guide, do that to me again. You get that? I'm here. I'm waiting for you. This is my acknowledgement to you. Then the ball starts rolling. Does that make sense, Laurie?
Very much.
Because I think Phil would know this because he works with the trance and he's worked with various things, right? And I think a lot of mediums out there will. Each guide has a signature. It's a calling card. Some people will get a pressure, a band across their head, right? Common ones is feeling hot or warm, right? Sometimes you'll feel the pressure in the tummy area, right, from the solar plexus because guides are pulling from the energy. Sometimes you'll feel different sensations. So what I'm trying to explain to people is the more you sit with spirit, the more you can acknowledge. The more that guide becomes stronger with you, the more you recognize. And what I try to say to people is there are basically 2 guides that you will have very strong communication with. Philosophy and your main guide. They are both guides that can influence the mind and thought. They are 2 guides that can come extremely close to you and 2 guides that you will have verbal communication from yourself to them. Because at the end of the day, you need to learn the philosophy, the understanding, and you will be asking that guide to draw close to you to work with you through that. Your main guide will be overseeing, and you need that communication with your main guide to do that. Other guides will come in and guides will change. Main guides never change. Philosophy guides do, other guides do, because if I put it to you loosely, there's a glass there. It was full. That might be the expectancy, say, of my philosophy guide. I've drunk. It's nearly empty. Does the guide refill it? Or does another guide come in to take their place? To refill that glass and give me fresh knowledge. So that is how changes happen with guides. So I hope that's helped in some way explaining that. My understanding, yeah, I thought Phil would come back with that back and neck compression corresponding to throat chakra and tingling sensation. Yeah, totally get it. Yeah, I think it's a great subject, guides.
It is. It is.
One you never, ever stop learning from.
And it does highlight a particular issue, and especially of more recent times has become more prominent with the explosion onto the internet, but even before then, the developmental side of mediumship was often aimed, again, as I say, at being the bus driver and not the mechanic. You know, all churches and centres, and Paul is guilty as well. We are not saints. We've gone in, you know, teaching different aspects of mediumship, but they've been very little on the fundamentals.
There's a lovely, if I can say this, sorry, Lloyd, I'm going to cut across. There's a lovely comment there. What about the healing one from Abla, I believe?
Yeah, Abla Houses Road.
Good evening. What about the healing one, the healing guide? Now, I'm going to tell you, with 30 years of experience, I envy the healers. Right? People say to me, why? Why do you hit? Why? And I say, because though you've got a main guide overseeing the work you do, and you work with your healing guide works on a level that is so close to overshadowing, almost trance-like state. You become the conduit of that energy, that love, that healing energy, the compassion that comes through you. It flows through you. And I often find that fantastic healers, good healers, they allow this energy just to flow through unconditionally, under the guidance and tutorship of main guides watching and safeguarding them, yeah? And it's an amazing feeling. And that they take very little praise for what they do. Absolutely. They're the most humble mediums I've ever met. We might stand up on the platform, however, in front of many people. We do what is asking of us to do, a job, to connect with spirit, to give proof of survival. In one way, and this, I don't mean this to sound like this, Laurie, but I think you'll get me, and I think the others will. You are cold. You are merely the voice box for spirit to deliver the vessel. Whereas with healers, it's the energy that flows through is felt, is understood, and you're driven to work that way. They get closer to the healing. The healing guides get closer to the healing mediums than possibly our guides can get to us when we're on platform. Though it's possible, and it does happen, you can come in an entrance state. We do. So, Abla, I wanted to give you that, yeah, because I think it's fantastic how healing mediums work. And I think a lot of mediums could learn from the healing mediums the humility and humbleness of what they actually do. It is just pure unconditional love, both sides on that one.
Definitely. And to go back to something you said earlier about when you come off the platform and then people tell you the story of the message you just delivered, and this is working on where you said about being cold, and yeah, I get that. We say things on the platform, and when you actually hear the story, you think, wow, that is amazing. I never got that, but yeah, I see how that fits in with your story, and that's beautiful. Healing mediums don't have that. We've got that little gap between us and the sitter. Healing mediums haven't.
Philosophy, I think, is something, if I could wave the magic wand, I would love to see the requirements of mediums who have the opportunity to sit in good circles. Because I believe that the teachings of what I was taught and other established mediums were taught is that the ways that we were taught are the old ways. They've stood the test of time. These airy-fairy things that keep coming up, I just don't get it. I know I can see that look on your face, Laurie. Yeah, I can see it. I just don't.
I'm reaching for the mute button.
I just don't get it, right? Because herein lies the problem. We expand energy to connect with spirit's energy. That's fact. It becomes two energies melding and moulding as one. When we grow with spirit, we also expand our mental capacity, right? We become a sponge. We soak up, we grow. And the more sensitivity that we have, the more sensitive we become, we can open more doors. People say to me, do you believe in nature spirit? Yes, I do. I felt it many, many times. My mum used to say to me, got a problem, come with me. I'm going to take you up the common, sit under that tree. And whether people want to laugh at me or not, I could feel the warmth of that tree around me. I felt comfortable with it. I could sit in another tree and not get that feeling. I work with the sea. I see the elements. I feel the presence of that energy, that power. Why? Because I've expanded. But I'm open to everything with spirit, yeah? Because that's what spirit and working with spirit does with us. It opens this, our mind and understanding. Now, I've got to give you something, Laurie, yeah? If I can, yeah?
No.
I try to put... I always get worried when you do that, mate. Do you know that? I seriously do.
I get very worried when you're doing this.
I'm always well behaved. You know me. You usually take me anywhere once.
Not twice. The second time to apologise.
I'll try and answer some questions that I get frequently asked, yeah?
Yeah.
One of the ones I put down is, who is my guide? I haven't got a clue. They're saying to me, who's my guide? I ain't got a clue. Right? And they expect, a lot of people expect someone to say, this is your guide. The way you find your guide is you set time aside to sit, train, sit in the energy, work with building that rapport. And that is how you establish who my guide is. You might not get names and dates and places. Fortunately, I was with my guide. But when you sit in circle, you allocate your time each week. You've got a lifetime to learn who is your guide. You can't put the time frame on it. Spirit can't put the frame time on it. It's when it happens. It will happen. Set time aside, sit and develop for it. And that is how you will learn it. How do I find out who they are? Well, I've just told you that. Because you explain that to them and then they come out with the same question, how do I find out who they are? Right, okay, let's take it on a deeper level. If you have a spirit person come to you and say, I am, I don't know, Tin Hat Charlie, right? Okay, Tin Hat Charlie, thank you. Do you accept that? Remember that phone call across the world wide? I'm your friend. Do you accept it? The onus is on you as a medium to find out. Question the guide. Well, if your name is this, where did you come from? Give me something. That may take weeks, it may take hours, it may take months, but it will come. So then you learn the identity, because if spirit can talk to you, they can tell you who they are, Laurie. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right. How do I see them, hear them, or sense them? Again, we touched on that. Not everybody will, but sense you most definitely will. So I would say to people, these are things. Does my guides change? Yes. They will change to the level of development that you're at. That someone will come in and take you further on the road when they've expired their energy or their knowledge, or when they, don't forget, guides actually learn. So whilst they're with you, they can still learn, right? And carry on with that. But the one thing that someone asks me quite a lot is, can a loved one be a guide? I have difficulty in accepting this to a certain extent, and please allow me to explain why. My mum is in spirit, yeah? Wasn't a great relationship. Those who know the story know it wasn't a great relationship, yeah? But nonetheless, that was a material life she led. She made her own forgiveness in spirit, come to terms. Can she be my guide? The answer is no. Because a guide is someone who has trained from the spirit side. They started off as a helper, watching how it's done. They've built up their knowledge and understanding to work as a guide in a role. Does that make sense? However, as Jan Denham has just said, I believe my nan assists with my healing. That is a different thing. They can guide and influence you on a level not quite the same as a mainstream guide. Does that make sense? They are not apprentices. They are helpers. They're helping us to grow. Does that make sense?
Very much.
Has everybody got a guide? We touched on it. I just wanted to touch on just a couple of things for it, yeah? Because our loved ones are there assisting us. And I think, as the lady said there, they are assisting, but they're not mainstream guides, because I believe guides train, learn, and adapt to that medium to do a specific job. But assist they can do.
Indeed.
Missing dreams, inspiration, thought, they can do all of that. I do believe that.
I go. I get it totally, Bill. People who do sit in circle will probably understand this better. You get some people who sit in circle who don't seem to develop, but there was what known as a powerhouse. Their energy is so welcome and assists that circle to move forward. I believe sometimes that's why we have people that we are familiar with will step into our energy, not in that instructor level, i.e. a guide, but just simply to bring that energy. Because if that love bond is there, I mean, what greater energy is that?
Yeah.
You know, if you've got somebody who loves you dearly and they're stood next to your side, you can take on the world.
I've got a question for you on that one. Little thing I'd like to put to play. If your guide is telling you to do something that you are apprehensive about, yeah, no matter how much you trust the guide. And to our lovely friends out there, I get asked this: how much do I trust my guides? 99%. I've earned the right over the years, testing them, which I have done 1,000,001 times, to say I do trust 99%. The 1% I keep back, that is the ability to me to ask why, to question. And as much as I trust Lone Wolf, Athos, Wulin, Hawk, I know my names and my guides. I know the roles and that they play. And I trust them. But if I have hesitation on saying, and I'm not sure, even with a guide, I'm human, for God's sake. And I get frightened. People look at me and say, you don't give up, but I do. And the guide says, imagine them standing there in spirit going, for God's sake, he won't listen. What can we do? I know, get his mum. Get his dad. And you have this visitation, be it mentally or physically, whichever. And you go, oh, why are you here? Son, you got to do this. It's important. They did it with me, Laurie, when I was ill. I thought I was going to die this year. They did it. Really, don't discharge yourself. Stay in hospital. Yeah?
Yeah.
Right? Because I'd have been dead. So they can use that. You know, no one can trust 101%. It's impossible. And that's because we're human. And that's the bit I like. We retain that human side. Ask, question. That's how you get going.
Very true. Very true. And to do that would deny the whole purpose. To me, in my opinion, we're here to learn both sides. As we're learning, our guides are learning, etc. And if either one of us takes charge and dictates to the others from whichever side of life, you're short-circuiting the whole process. Interesting question here, Darren. Good evening, sir.
You're gonna pick that one?
Yeah. Oh, very psychic, Bill.
I might get in circle.
Do you find it Christian beliefs play a part when it comes to your guide?
Good question, Darren. I like that one. I'm not a churchgoer. Right? I hate when someone reads from the Bible, yeah? These, thous, do's, don'ts, and all that lot, yeah? My Christian beliefs, I believe in God, yes. That creative force, the supreme being, the supreme spirit, I believe in that, yeah? And I find that when I look at Christ, do I see him as Son of God, this risen from the dead? I look at it as a medium, a fantastic healer, fantastic medium, fantastic philosophy. And I look at that and think, yes, because when I look at the Christian belief and say, well, Christ rose from the dead, so do we. Part of the belief is that when we die, we rise. What rises is the spirit ascends and grows. That spirit is within. So I find that I do look at that and say, yes, that God energy is within all of us. That there are people that on this earth plane are put here for a reason. Lama, people like that, you know, supreme people, they're leaders of people. So yes, I do find that Christian belief does have a play in it. Ask me, would I sit in a church and listen to someone preaching from the Bible? I tend to get itchy bum, fidgety feet, because to me it comes across as someone talking down to me. So I prefer to find my own belief with the Christian side and the spirituality side of it. Yes, I believe Christ and people like that were fantastic people sent here to open people up, to give belief, to give hope. I hope that answers that question.
It does. And I always say spiritualism makes sense of many of the Orthodox religions.
Exactly.
Lovely Eva here from Sweden.
Good evening, Eva.
Would you say that if old masters appear several times, are they some of a guide crew?
Right. This is something that you're going to have to work on. Through the course of a medium's journey, there are times when guides come in. They are in a sense guides, teachers, old masters. But they come in because at that particular time, you may need something of a particular lesson that they can offer. And say, Cool and Lau, they come to you when you are in need. Say with philosophy, I'm making this up. And you get these words of wisdom and you check it and it comes from these said masters, yeah? It's given to you for a reason. Understand these words and meaning because they're the next stage of your evolution. So yes, I do believe that old masters do come through. I do believe that. When you are mentally, spiritually at a level where a stage is needed, they might not be mainstream guides as in being with you all the time, but they will come in to offer assistance briefly to help you escort you through that particular stage of your development. So yes, I do believe that many, many masters do come. Where people, however, get wrong is that, believe it or not, I had a visitation once from Harry Edwards. I saw him as clear as a bell. Beautiful. But it was at the stage where I was beginning to develop my healing side. Does that make sense? I could have very easily made the biggest mistake of all. My guide is Harry Edwards.
Yeah.
The guide wasn't Harry Edwards. Harry Edwards' energy, spirit projection was there because I needed to say, who is this bloke? Who's Harry Edwards? Naive, stupid as it may sound. But once I checked it out and realised who he was and what he did, but it was explained to me by my circle leader that possibly would have been there just to say, it's for real. My wisdom to you is developed. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And that is why I believe that old masters and famous mediums and that do come through. I really do believe that they bring to the table not just like, I'm your guide, I'm fixated on doing this. As you grow, you will need the influence of other guides, other teachers. Let's use the word teachers, because that's exactly what they are. They're teachers assisting and showing you the lesson, the answer. You learn from that lesson and you advance. So when people say to me, I've got this and I've got that, I say, yeah, but why are they there? Oh, because they're there. They don't want to put any more homework in and find out, Laurie. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
See a famous face and assume I must be a famous medium one day because I've got a famous guide. Don't work that way.
Mm.
Doesn't work that way.
I attended a week's physical and trance, and we had to meditate before breakfast, have breakfast, and then share what we had in the meditation. And there were two ladies there, who were awfully.
Yeah.
And every morning it was like giving off all these names, and I'm just thinking, really? Really? Yeah, I've had it. I've experienced actually fairly recently 2 of the names from our recent history in spiritualism who just appeared when I was doing a meditation in a church, and I was like, okay, what's going on here? And I had a little bit of evidence because the speaker knew one of them.
Right.
And I gave a bit of evidence. I said, because he showed me this, and he went, he had that. That was his. And I went, oh my goodness. I'm not saying now that they're my guides. They just stepped in because of the energy. They were very creative and very progressive within spiritualism. And I'm very modest and quite shy about myself. But I thought, well, actually, no, I think it was because of what we're doing here in Poole and how we're pushing things forward and how we're getting back to grassroots. This was probably the attractant there to them to step in and go, oh, that's interesting. We'll keep an eye on this.
Yeah.
But I do not claim them to be my guides.
Exactly. Exactly. And people do tend to jump on this bandwagon of, I've seen them, experienced them. Yes, they've got to be my guides. They're not. They're assisting.
Yeah.
Particular time.
Yeah. Bill, what can I say? You've managed a whole hour and 13 minutes without swearing, so I'm eternally grateful for that.
I never swear. Have a go. Have a go. I shall next week make sure I get my own back on you.
Bill, it's been an absolute pleasure and delight, as always, talking to you. The comments coming in very productive. Sorry we didn't get to everybody's comment on there, but we just go with the flow as one question's answered, it opens up another door. So yeah, really, really good evening. I'm so looking forward to actually meeting you and the lovely Celia, who I know is in
the lovely Celia.
Yeah, bye.
Hello, darling.
I like Phil's statement. There ain't a lot that makes him Miss Strictly.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. I'm so looking forward to meeting you both next week. It's going to be a real joy.
And
thank you
for having me.
Pleasure. Let's rephrase that. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight. Thoroughly enjoyed your evening. A lot of laughter as well, which is always good. That's going to be my trademark. When I'm gone, well, from here, you say my name and people will smile, and I think that's wonderful. Anyway,
say my name and they run.
Yeah, I don't know. They might be smiling because I have gone.
And thank you to you lovely guys out there for listening and asking questions. And my faith has been restored at such links that you're putting on here, Laurie, where people can talk and people can expand and exchange views and opinions, and we can all grow together. That is, to me, is spiritual growth.
Definitely.
So I ain't going to give you a second compliment, but just take this one.
I say I'm happy with the one, Bill. I should cherish that.
Okay then, mate.
Next week, ladies and gents, we have an evening of evidential mediumship live on Zoom. During the winter months, I thought just once a month we will link up with some of these wonderful people that we've met across the 18 months now we've been doing this. Just to bring in those little gems of mediumship and those little times of that contact with our loved ones. So to kick off that season, we have Jack Eckhart Lundlund from Denmark, the head of the Danish Spiritual Association, and the lovely Ewan Irvin from Edinburgh, who works at the Arthur Conan Doyle Centre. Looking forward to chairing for both of those two guys next week. The Zoom login details can be found on the event advertising that night. So just click on join in and have a wonderful night. Bill, any final words, sir?
Final words. If I could give my final words to you all, is never accept blindly from spirit. Always question. Question is what made mankind, humankind, whichever word you want to use, evolve. I wonder, what is, what if? Never lose that, because if we never ask questions, we would never have spirit communication. Definitely. And that's my final words.
Yeah, definitely. And again, that reiterates my saying, neither side of this equation are puppets. We are equal intelligences and we engage in conversation.
Yep.
Thank you, everybody. Have a beautiful evening. Take care. Look after yourselves. Don't forget, you can watch our service streamed live from the church tomorrow morning on our Facebook page at 11 a.m. And we have Tony Goswell, who is in the room tonight as well. So, yeah, keep up to date. Look after yourselves. Lots of love and good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.